Welcome to episode 103 of the Woolly Thistle podcast, coming to you from the gorgeous state of New Hampshire. Today is Friday, September 20th, 2019, and I'm your host, Corinne. The Woolly Thistle brings your favourite yarns from the UK and Europe and makes them easily accessible in North America. At thewoollythistle.com, you will find the best of British yarn, such as Blacker, Uist Wool, and Jamieson and Smith, to name a few. You will also find yarns from Scandinavia, including Ulcentrum, Plötulopi, Rauma, and Tuku wool. At the Woolly Thistle, we encourage woolly wanderlust, and we share information about where the wool was grown and milled. We specialise in finding yarn made at the source, whether that be on wild Scottish islands or in the Devon countryside. We find it and share it with you. With excellent customer service and beautiful yarns to peruse, you will love shopping at thewoollythistle.com. That's 2 L's in woolly. The Woolly Thistle welcomes and seeks out customers, designers, authors, and yarn makers of all backgrounds, ethnicities, cultures, locations, ages, and orientations who possess a love of wool and craft. We value your work and your contribution to making the Woolly Thistle a safe community. You are welcome here. Let the Woolly Thistle do the international shipping, so you don't have to. Thank you if you're a new and or returning listener. It's great to have you here. This episode is going to feel a little bit crazy, I think, because there's so much going on. But I wanted to get this out to you so that you know exactly what's happening at the Woolly Thistle here in terms of all the good stuff we have for you. It's all coming in at once, it feels like. There is also a YouTube update that will go live Thursday or Friday. So by the time you hear this audio podcast, there should be an additional show and tell over on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. The best way to keep in touch with me at the Woolly Thistle is through our newsletter, which you can sign up for at thewoollythistle.com, and follow us on Instagram at The Woolly Thistle. And of course, I just mentioned YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss a shop update. Right, blether. So I did miss recording an episode last time. It was Labor Day. I usually record on Mondays, and the last Monday I was to record was actually Labor Day. And it got away from me. I was spending time with my family. I took the day off, of course. And so I didn't record an episode, and then the week just ran out. So this is belated, but we're back on schedule, and I'm really glad. It's been on my mind that I haven't been chatting with you here on the podcast. So I hope you all had a great Labor Day and that you are ready to hear what I've got to tell you all about. So this episode includes Off the Needles, On the Needles, Cal News, and the Woolly Thistle update. So I don't think there's anything new off the needles since the Borough Cowl by Marie Wallen, as well as Rosamond Sweater by Marie Wallen as well. Those are the last two things I think I've had off the needles, but there'll be more coming soon enough. So let me tell you about what's on the needles. I am currently knitting with John Arbon Devonia 4-ply, which we have here at the Woolly Thistle, and I'm now knitting the Ranunculus sweater by Knit Cafe Midori. I had started out knitting something else, but I decided that wasn't going to work for me, and I changed my mind. So now I'm knitting the Ranunculus, which is knit at a very loose gauge. So I think I'm knitting this on US 8s, and this is a fingering weight yarn. So it's very, very airy and holy, and I wasn't at all sure if this was really going to look good, but I think it is going to be actually really wearable as a layering piece. And I'm knitting mine in pink, which is the broken flower colorway. It's really lovely to knit with. And I can tell you from personal experience that the yarn is holding up really well to being knitted, ripped again, and reknit. So far, so good. Not showing any signs of wear and tear, which is really good. If you watched the last YouTube update, I had knit just past the lacework in the yoke of the ranunculus. And this is a very popular sweater that many people have knitted. In fact, somebody used Einrum, which we have here. They used Einrum to knit their ranunculus in our sweater cowl, and it looks really, really good. Anyway, I'm knitting mine with John Arbon, like I told you. And I got as far as dividing the yoke for putting sleeves on. So I was going to put the yarn on waste yarn, the stitches on waste yarn. And I went through, put all my stitch markers on, and I had over 130 extra stitches. I don't know. I was completely flummoxed how I got that far off. And I think what happened is what always happens with me is I get too comfortable and I think, oh yeah, I don't need to count this. I've got this. I'm all over this. This is so easy. I could knit this in my sleep. And off I go in my very merry way, knitting almost twice as many stitches as I need on every single round through the widest part of, the yoke where you're still knitting the tops of the shoulders. And I had over 100, like 130 too many stitches. And it took me forever to figure out what the heck I'd done. And honestly, I don't even know what I'd done. I haven't been able to figure it out. But it did take me a while to figure out that I did actually need to rip back. I hadn't put in any lifelines because I'm too good for that, apparently. I don't need lifelines. And where this was a lacy section and it was very loosely knit, a lifeline would have been really helpful. But I didn't know how far back I'd made the mistake or if I'd been making it all along. And there were short rows in there. So it wasn't an easy task for me to get back to the right stitch count. And I ended up ripping back all the way to the ribbing, all the way. So I am starting again. I have started already, and I think I've managed to get down as far as the middle of the lace work. So I am almost back to where I was. I think if I have a good couple of nights crack at it, I'll be dividing for the sleeves. Yeah, so I think this is testimony as to how well John Arbon's Devonia stands up to abuse. I can hand on heart say it's doing great with that. And I think I'm going to really like the ranunculus, which is a surprise. This is a departure for me. I wouldn't have normally knitted this, and I am really interested in knitting it at a different gauge as well, maybe with a DK yarn. I think that would be really, really nice. So yeah, more to follow on that. Stay tuned, and I'm sure I'll be showing you in the shop update as well. I'm also still knitting on my Cambridge sweater by Kim Barnett of Knitting Union. And this is a lace and cable pattern for Aran weight, as she wrote it, but I have rewritten the numbers to work for a worsted weight, and I'm using Ul Centrum 3-ply light worsted weight. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I finished the back and I'm well into the front now. Really enjoying that. It's a very fun knit. It's not actually very memorizable, but yes, once you've done the first repeat, you're good for the rest of the row. So it is memorizable, but I do need the chart to know where I am in the rows. I use tape, like washi tape, and I put that down, and that keeps me in place on the chart so my eyes aren't wandering all over the place trying to figure out where I am. And I'm knitting this, as you know, in bright green, and I'm not sick of it yet. I really like it. I remembered, actually, I have a fleece like from an LL Bean or somewhere that is the same bright green. So I have worn bright green and I just have to do it in wool now. So I don't think it's too much of a departure, and I think it is going to be a favourite sweater. Here's hoping anyway. I'm totally loving knitting the lace work as well as the cables. The cables are really nice and easy. I don't need a cable needle for them, and it's just zooming along. But when I get bored of that and I need to get myself confused and lost, I head over to the ranunculus and just add stitches. So yeah, those are the two things I'm knitting on mostly. I'm still pining after Café de Flores by Virginia Sattler-Reimer, who is Ginny SR on the social media. And that's knit in St. Kilda, and I have that sitting ready to go. It's on deck. And I think I have quite a few other things that will be jumping on deck as well, based on the new yarns I have to tell you about. But we'll get there. Yeah, so that is what's on the needles right now. It's fun knitting. They're sweaters. Oh, and I do have my lovely sweater from Tidal Yarns. That really hasn't had a look in since I got to where I need to change colours and add the pocket. I've never done a pocket like this, and it's a little, I don't know what you call it. It's a cute little pocket though. So I guess I feel like I need a little headspace before I do that. But this is a top-down raglan sweater in worsted weight. The yarn is Tidal Yarns, and if I could sell that yarn, I would. It's beautiful, and it's probably the one yarn I consistently go to that I don't stock. So high praise indeed, for sure. So you can always find Tidal Yarns at all the shows. She'll be at Rhinebeck, and I would make a beeline there so you can see her beautiful stall. She'll be in one of the barns. I'm not sure exactly where, but go find her and tell her I sent you. Yeah, so talking of Rhinebeck, I am not sure what my plans are for Rhinebeck. I do this every single year, so you can probably count on me being there, but I haven't made any plans to go, but I'm sure I will. It's not so far away that I can't do it in a day if I had to. I just need to pull my finger out and get on with it. I don't know if you can tell, I'm feeling very, very busy and a little discombobulated right now, but that's okay. The kids are back to school, and my husband is being really, really good about after school and helping me with all the soccer and the various things that we have to do as parents. So yes, he's been great and helping me out, which is giving me a bit more time in the shop here and there. Next up is Cal news. We have two Cals on the go right now, as you know. We have the Marie Wallen Cal, which is hashtag Wallen Along or Marie Wallen Cal. Both of those are good on Instagram. And this started quite a while ago and is going through Rhinebeck. And the Woolly Thistle will be giving away a Jameson & Smith Baker's Dozen grab bag to a lucky winner. I don't know if I'd mentioned that, but that was what I signed up to give away as a prize. So for all of you who are knitting along, and you could knit anything by Marie Wallen and just have it finished by Rhinebeck, it's probably, I'm not going to say the exact date because I don't have it written here, but I'm really just doing this on Instagram. I'm doing this with my fellow podcasters, Sarah of Fibre Trek, Sarah of Yarns at Yanhu, and Emily of Fibre Town. And I think they do have Ravelry threads for their Cals. I'm just doing this one on Instagram. So be sure to tag your posts and your photos on Instagram because that's where I'll draw my prize from. And it's lovely to see so many yells and bresses, and I did the Borough Cowl for my entry. So there's lots of different things. You can knit anything by Marie Wallen and it counts. The other Cal we have going on right now is the Woolly Thistle's second annual sweater Cal, which started back on August 23rd and goes through October 20th, which is roughly 8 weeks, and that is Rhinebeck Sunday that it finishes on. The hashtag for that is TWT Sweater Cal 2019. And we do have a thread on Ravelry, which I know most of you have found because you're in there chatting, which is great. And we do have an FO thread up now because there's at least 5 FOs already done, including, I just mentioned, the ranunculus in Einrum, which is just lovely. Go look at it. Einrum is an Icelandic wool with a thread of silk running through it. It's just lovely. It's a fingering white. And I think there's a Felix or 2 in there as well, which is great. Of course, Felix is by Amy Christopher's Savory Knitting. And I knitted one in Let Lopi. I knitted mine in a week with Maggie, who is my friend who works here. She also knitted hers in a week. So that is a fast knit and a very wearable design. And I know that she just came out with a cardigan in the Felix pattern, which I think if you bought the sweater, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I think if you bought the sweater pattern, you get the upgrade or the renewed pattern with the cardigan in there. So yeah, the sweater cal for the Woolly Thistle is on Ravelry primarily, and you can use the hashtag on Instagram. The prize fairy is popping in and out and giving the odd random prize to a chatty Cathy in the chatter group or a chatter thread. So be sure to be in there chatting. It's a great fun place to spend some of your time when you're not knitting or while you're knitting. And yeah, that is moving right along. So I hope you're enjoying that. And I'm knitting my Cambridge for that. So I do hope that I'll be done in time. I would like to wear it to Rhinebeck if I go. All right, let's move on to the Woolly Thistle update. The Woolly Thistle's doing great, as I always say, because it's always true. And I really appreciate you shopping with me and telling your friends about the shop, as well as sharing on Instagram when your orders arrive. This all helps a lot to get the word out and helps me to continue to grow the yarn offerings that I'm then able to make to you. And thank you for watching and enjoying the Woolly Thistle's shop update on YouTube. It is such a departure, but I am enjoying it, and I do love hearing from you and seeing that some of you are watching, so thank you. Be sure to subscribe and watch out for a chance to win a prize. So far on every shop update, I have given away something, and this time it will be a surprise. The prize will be a surprise. You'll have to watch to see what it is because I haven't yet decided. Last Friday, we looked at Old Centrum and John Arbon Devonia because that's what I'm knitting with right now. And we also had a look at the 3 lines from Rauma, which included their Finullgarn, their Strickgarn, and their Gamelsari. So yes, you can watch that and see those. And if you're listening to this, there should be a newer episode up with all the new yarn that is coming in. It seems that everyone has set September 20th, which is today, as their launch day. And of course, first of all is Lina magazine. Lina 9 releases today. And we have gotten all our orders out so that you should be receiving your copy today or tomorrow, but they're all out by the time you're hearing this. So if you pre-ordered, thank you very much. It really does help us when you pre-order because then we can get our ducks in a row and get things out nice and quickly. So I have a copy of Lina 9 here, which is a beautiful edition, and of course the Woolly Thistle has a little half-page ad near the back. I hope you like the photography of that. Lina this time has the model from their previous issue, and I'm not recalling exactly which one she was on before, but you'll recognize her. And they also have a beautiful model of color sharing the modeling job, which is really good. And they have so many great patterns in this one. There are so many that I want to knit. So the very first one, I'm not going to be able to say this, and I'm going to show my ignorance trying to say it. Panache by Rachel Brockman is a really lovely sweater that I will be looking for a yarn at the Woolly Thistle to knit this in because it's not in a yarn that I carry. But it's a lovely cabled piece, but not a typical cable design. And it's got a nice longer back than front. which is really fun, a split hem. So that is one I want to knit right out of here. And of course, right away, right after that, Miss Apple's Little Cardie is just a really useful piece to have. And there's a lovely portrait of Lavagna Petricella. There is a lovely pattern in here knitted in John Arbon Knit by Numbers, but knitted in their 4-ply, which I don't carry. And it's called the Wristy. And it's a lovely gradient colorwork with a colorwork yoke. Yeah, and the other sweater that I'd really like to knit out of Line and 9 is Lumi by Marianne Munier. It just looks like a very cozy piece with a lovely big cowl neck and a nice rib around the bottom that would be very cozy indeed. And there's a pair of socks and a couple of shawls, really nice shawls. So I think this is a really lovely issue. We also have being released today By Hand 10, and they're in Montana. That is going in the shop, so you will be able to get that. I haven't had a chance to look through it, but I know without looking that it's going to be an absolutely beautiful, colorful, well laid out, gorgeous lookbook, and I will be taking one for myself. I collect all of these for myself because they are a favorite magazine, and I feel they're so much more than a magazine. They're just lovely. And so that goes live today. Shetland Wool Week 2019. I was thrilled to hear from them before the event. I was trying to give them lots of space right now because I know it's very busy for them. They're getting ready for their big event, which is celebrating 10 years. And so they have come out with a bumper issue annual for the 10th anniversary, and they got in touch and let me know that they would be able to ship it to me direct from the printer, and that it's almost finished at the printers, and what would I like to order. So I was really thrilled because I was going to hold off until after the event and then ask them about stocking it. I have stocked it the last 2 years, but I have to respect that they have a lot going on. And it was just lovely to hear from them. So I have lots and lots of those coming over, and we're taking pre-orders now. So thank you if you have placed your order. It is expensive as a publication, but they have made it bigger and better this year. And it is coming over from Shetland, which is not a cheap proposition to get books over here. So thank you for ordering that. And we have more Pom Pom coming, which is Pom Pom 30, their autumn edition. And of course, we have this Golden Fleece. We have been taking pre-orders for that, and we did have our first shipment arrive, and so the first pre-orders were sent out. And we have a big shipment coming, hopefully in the next few days, and we'll get the next lot of pre-orders out. I have put the pre-orders on hold until we get caught up because it's, I don't want to have too many things waiting to go out. So hang in there, it's coming. There's plenty, and you will get yours. So we'll put those back in the shop just as soon as we get word that they're on their way. Going in, and I haven't even seen it yet because it's sitting in a box that just arrived today, is Helene Magnusson's Icelandic Knits. This is her brand new book. And that'll be going in the shop just as soon as possible. We have some more Rowan felted tweed come in to replenish what we sold. So if you still have that newsletter discount, you will be able to try that. Just keep an eye out for that going in the shop. Okay, so that's that lot. What else can I tell you about? Oh, yes, Blacker Yarns, birthday yarn. Today's September 20th, and that goes live today. So as you know, Blacker has a lovely, happy tradition of issuing a birthday yarn every year on their birthday in September. And this year they have come out with the Cornish Garden collection. And they have done us a lovely favor of coming out with 2 weights. They have a 3-ply weight, which is 478 yards per 100 grams. So it's a generous yardage, light fingering weight. It's actually a 3-ply. And then Cornish Garden Sport is 232 yards per 100 grams. And it feels significantly more thick than the 3-ply. This is a woolen spun yarn, so it's light and fluffy, it's fairly bulky, and it's got strong memory. So this is going to have nice elasticity to it. Comes in 100 gram skeins in 5 shades. There are 4 dyed shades and one lovely medium light grey that is very pretty to look at. I've fallen in love with the 3-ply. Now let me tell you what the blend is that goes into making this very special and lovely yarn. There is English Merino, Shetland, BFL, and a thing called Noils, which are a byproduct from their worsted combing processes. So 40% natural white and fawn English Merino, 17% fawn and grey Shetland, 26% Blueface Leicester, and 17% pale Noils from their worsted combing process. There are 5 colours. 4 of them are dyed. There's a lovely bright orange called, now I'm not going to be able to say these right. These are named after Cornish gardens in the Cornish countryside, which is somewhere I really want to visit. So the orange is Cote Heel. That's how I'm going to say it. I don't know if that's right. And their pink is, fun, Buckanock. And that's a lovely, strong pink colour. I do like it because I like a pink. These are all on the grey base, so there's a nice depth of colour. The blue is a very hydrangea colour blue, and it's called Treba. And it's lovely. I think that will be popular. And then there's a gorgeous bright green, and that is Hooligan, which makes me think of hooligan, which is more like where I'm from. But anyway, Hooligan is a lovely, verdant, bright green. And then there's a darker grey. It's not really a dark grey though, but it's darker than the natural, and that is dyed, and it's called Trimmin' Here. I hope I'm not saying these names too badly. So the handle on these is spongy and it's soft. It is woolen spun, so it's got that lovely floofy feel about it, but spongy I think is the word, especially the 3-ply is coming to mind. I like it. I think it'd be good for colour work, and I can see different combinations. The orange, the blue and the dark grey is really good together. So, and the blue and the green and the light grey is really nice. Yeah, or the dark grey. So anyway, I've got quite a bit of stock of this. It will go quickly as it usually does. So keep an eye out on Instagram. I think I will send out a newsletter too, just giving you the time that these will go live, because this is the sort of thing that I put on at a certain time, and you have to be ready with your fingers on the button, ready to go, okay? But it's beautiful. It's very, very nice. Very nice yarn. So, okay, what else do we have for you? Well, I just got in some more Rauma. Rauma has come out with 20 new colours. I have the first 10 of them here in the shop, and I just opened them. I bought them sight unseen, and I can't believe how gorgeous they are. Rauma has quite a strong palette of solid colours. These new colours are more heathered, more deep, and they have, I think they're on a grey base, so you've got that lovely depth of colour. And there's a petrol blue here that I pulled out, which is really lovely. These are all going to make gorgeous sweaters. So I have all Finullgarn. There's a lovely greenish gold, and then there's a goldish gold, and there's a pinkish as well, all the different colours. So I will be working to get them in the shop real soon, and be on the lookout for those. These are gorgeous, and they're going to make really great garments as well. I need to look and see if I can get these colours in the strict garn. I'd like that too. Okay, thinking of myself as usual. Ooh, West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn is on its way to me, and I posted a picture on Instagram earlier this week. The yarn is called Robin. It's part of the Signature 4-ply collection. It knits up really nice. It's a more dark, muted palette. It's not a bright, brashy, Christmas, full-on Christmas lights, but it is Christmassy, it's wintry, and it's got all the colours you'd expect with a little robin redbreast, little birdie. And it comes with your choice of heels and toes. So you can use the cayenne pepper, which is a bright red solid. You can use cinnamon, which is a currant colour, and it's a beigey colour, and a new one, turmeric, which is sort of a yellow. And any of those will make really nice contrasting heels and toes. So I'm waiting for replenishments of those solids to come over, and that will be coming over hopefully in the next shipment. But this shipment is going to be all robin, and so get ready for that, because these will make beautiful socks for Christmas presents for him or her. I think they will work for both and be really nice and wearable. And of course, Signature 4-ply yarn by West Yorkshire Spinners is one of my favourite sock yarns. It's a very durable sock yarn. It's a workhorse yarn. It's very soft. It's got 35% blue-faced Leicester in it. Made in Britain. You can't beat it. It does have nylon in it, and it's also washable in your washing machine. And to me, for socks, that's what I want. So I'm happy with that. So yes, that is coming. It's on its way over here. And when it gets here, we'll be putting that in the shop too. And every ball of the Christmas yarn will come with a complimentary pattern from Winnick Mum, and you'll remember her from her collection of yarn that recently came out a couple of months ago with West Yorkshire Spinners, and she also was the designer who designed the socks for their Christmas yarn last year. So she's doing that again, and it looks like a really nice pattern. There's a little bit of cable in there and a little bit of ribbing, so it looks really nice. Okay, let's see. I've got more tuku fingering and sock. We've got more socks to go in. We just received a box of that, so that'll be going in soon, and we should be well stocked up for that. Let Lopi and Plotalopi is in good supply, and we have more of that on its way. What else? Jameson and Smith, we are well stocked with that. That's looking good. I think that's probably quite a lot to tell you. It's the highlights for sure. And I wanted to get this out to you so that I'm not remiss in sharing what's new in the shop. So I hope you're well. I want to say thank you for listening. And I think all that's left to say is if you go out, take your knitting. Take care. See you on the YouTubes. Bye. That's the end of another episode, but it doesn't have to be over. Thank you for listening to the Woolly Thistle podcast, brought to you by the Woolly Thistle online shop. You can find items discussed in this episode at thewoollythistle.com. That's 2 L's in woolly. You can find our Ravelry group by searching for The Woolly Thistle. Find our podcast on iTunes or at thewoollythistle.com. You can speak to Corinne at hello@thewoollythistle.com. Follow The Woolly Thistle on Instagram at The Woolly Thistle, and join our newsletter for subscriber specials and all the news right on thewoollythistle.com.